Hello and welcome to FinextraTV. I'm Alex Lippic and you join us here at the Temenos Community Forum event 2024 in Dublin. And I'm delighted to be kindly joined by Prema Varadhan of Temenos. Prema, thank you so much for being with us today.
Thanks for having me, Alex.
Absolute pleasure. So generative AI, huge topic at the moment. I'd love to know how you think it can be applied and used effectively within banking.
So there are very specific cases within banking spectrum, I would say. We have the concept of front office, middle office and back office in the banking value chain. These use cases apply pretty much in all of those areas. So for example, in the back office in particular, if you want to understand as a bank user instantly who are your most profitable customers, or who are those customers in what age group are likely to leave the bank very soon. So these are typically back office or middle office where operations are involved in this process. But there are some fantastic use cases within the front office where it is more customer facing, where it is helping banks generate more customer growth. So there it is more around how do you combine the power of explainable AI and use that to personalize the offers that you are making to customers, because you are interacting with the customers and you are understanding their needs, and then you are communicating in a way that you can give them the best offer. So that's a great use case, applying both generative AI and explainable AI. There are some other use cases within risk and compliance which don't, which are not very attractive to talk about openly, but they are very, very powerful for banks. So for example, screening, sanction screening, to reduce the false positives, to also understand and interpret the decision making when the AI model comes up and says, okay, that's a false, looks like that's a fraudulent transaction, to understand why it is a fraudulent transaction and to communicate and understand. So these are some of the really good examples of how Gen AI combined with explainable AI or traditional AI models itself can deliver the power, basically the value to the banks.
You mentioned potential. There's clearly a lot of potential there and capabilities. So you've touched on some of the benefits. What would you say are the kind of core benefits of generative AI solutions in general?
Okay, so the way we look at anything that we do in Temenos, it's all about how much value we can generate for our customers, as in banks. And we measure it in a few ways. We look at the performance indicators of the banks that they track, and then we further break it down into 5 different pillars: innovation and growth, customer centricity, operational efficiency, so on and so forth. So what we do is we look at our end-to-end processes and business processes, the journeys that we package out of the box, and we start applying it to not only the front office use cases, but the back office as well. And why that is important is because some of the front office use cases are helping banks digitally sell more to their customers, or give the personalized experiences, or the personalized offers, negotiate rates much better using AI, using all of these capabilities. That's very important set of use cases because it drives customer experience and growth. And then equally important, but not spoken much about use cases, sit in back office and middle office, which is where the operational efficiencies come in, which is where, as I said, the augmentation of human business user expertise added to the machine learning and the explainable AI capabilities, they just give that power back to the users and make them a lot more efficient. So it's everywhere. The use cases are sitting everywhere is how we see it. So when we didn't have Gen AI, generative AI, before this time, we had explainable AI, which was doing the predictions and the optimization and all those algorithms, which were packaged banking models. But by combining generative AI with explainable AI, we are just handing all of those insights directly to the bank users for them to access. And we are not pretending to know that they will, we know the queries they are going to ask. We are just letting them use it, unlock it themselves. And that is the real power here.
So interesting, and it's a lot to look forward to. It'd be interesting to see how it develops as well. So you've spoken in depth about generative AI. What about responsible AI? What does that actually mean, and why is it so important, do you think?
Yeah. So I spoke about responsible AI at TCF, and it's extremely important because when people talk about AI, the first thing that they say is AI can get a little bit, how do I say, opaque.
Sure.
It can be unsafe. It can also lead to some biased outcomes. And with Gen AI, there is a concept of hallucination. Gen AI can start thinking that it knows something, and it can give you an answer, which may not be entirely true. It could be imagining things,
right? Yeah.
And it would be giving you that response. So, as users of AI, most people may not be able to differentiate whether this is the right output that I can use in my business decision making or not. So when we say responsible, we say a few things about the models that are being used with AI capabilities and also the outputs of the models. So the models have to be clearly understood. When we say clearly understood, it should be understood in a simple, human readable format, language, whatever that is. And both the banking users and the regulators should be able to understand or analyze the decision making by the model. And then the other point I mentioned, the human users should be able to augment it. So that's the responsible way of using model. And the output itself of the model should again be easily understood, but we should be able to demonstrate that it has got no bias whatsoever. So there are ways to doing it, and for us it is explainable AI. That is the secret sauce for us. When you put all of this together with that explainability, then suddenly it becomes so much easier for you to stand up in front of a regulator and say, this is the model, this is how it makes the decision, this is why it made this decision, and this is how we used it. That's about it.
So effectively it's an education, it's a real understanding of how it can be used and optimized in the right way, as you've said. Prema, thank you so much for your time, for joining us today. We really do appreciate it, and we'll let you get back to the busy event, but thank you.
Thank you very much, Alex.
Thank you.